So Cracker Barrel has lost its customers after the massive backlash as the company loses everything it once stood for. Now, a lot of people are saying or seeing out there that the mainstream media is not really covering what the truth is. I mean, all they're reporting is that it was after the bad logo rebranding and everything. But yeah, I mean, that was just the cherry on top after the number of problems that they've had before. But the thing is, it's way more than that. You see, Cracker Barrel pushed away the very people who actually built its success. When longtime customers saw that Cracker Barrel change its food, its service, and even its look, they stopped showing up. Okay, so the backlash didn't, come from the outsiders and stuff. It came from the families who used to fill those rocking chairs every weekend. And now Cracker Barrel is just stuck trying to rebuild trust in that it never should have lost in the first place. Okay, so as you all know, for years, Cracker Barrel has, been proud of being different from the plastic feel of the restaurants, but the customers actually started, walking out because, well, the food was no longer made with care. Complaints about cold, chewy chicken or bland sides aren't random at all. They're just consistent and stuff. And the quality slipped and the people noticed. You see, right there, that's the reality that's built from hundreds of experiences that prove the food just wasn't what it used to be. Now, when longtime guests say that they'd rather grab a drive-through sandwich from somewhere else than pay sit-down prices for a bad meal, that tells you exactly how far this chain called Cracker Barrel is falling. Now, honestly, the first problem people pointing out was the food quality. When someone actually says that they left in the middle of the meal because the chicken was tough and the meal just felt lifeless, that's not just a bad night. That's a sign of rot in the kitchen. The old Cracker Barrel didn't serve half cold food. The old Cracker Barrel made you feel like, you were getting something made fresh by the people who actually cared. And now diners talk about lukewarm plates and prices that make them regret sitting down. Now, if you've got families that's paying close to $40 for what tastes like reheated leftovers, I mean, that right there is the opposite of Southern comfort, which is just corporate failure. Okay. And it's not just the customers, even the people who work inside the restaurants are just speaking up. You see, when your own employees go online to say the way the food is cooked now is gross, that says everything. You see, these are people who used to brag about making things from scratch, like biscuits, sides, and pies that actually felt homemade. And now they say the frozen dough and shortcuts are replacing that tradition. Now, Cracker Barrel used to sell the idea of authenticity, but honestly, when the workers beg guests to complain to corporate because that's the only way to bring quality back, you completely lost your identity. I mean, seriously, there's people who actually either work there now still or used to work there. They're coming forward and stating that, they're all of this has affected them negatively and stuff as well. And that's saying a lot because they're telling you what's actually happening behind the scenes and stuff. And let's not also forget about, the pet game and everything, where the granddaughter of the original owner of the company of the pet game has spoken out stating that the company has put them out of business as well. Okay. And not at all have you actually heard any vitriol about this from the company itself. But I mean, at the same time, come on now. Come on. But what's also happening right now isn't, just about cooking shortcuts and stuff either. It's about the cutting corners everywhere. Okay. Another thing the media is not talking about. You see, the people running Cracker Barrel seem to think no one will notice if the biscuits are frozen or the syrup gets watered down. But guess what? The customers notice, and that's why the parking lots are either half empty or completely empty. And they see a restaurant that they're used to care about, getting the meal right, then getting out fast. The problem isn't inflation or competition; it's complacency. Once a company starts valuing efficiency over excellence, guess what happens? The soul of the brand dies right there on the plate. Okay. Now the portions even got smaller too. And that's another slap in the face to the very people who used to eat there every week. You see, you can't shrink the servings, lower the quality, and raise the prices all at once without pushback. You see, when people talk about French toast that used to come with, extra slice of syrup, that's how half baked, how they're not being picky. They're describing betrayal. People grew up on those recipes. They don't want a corporate cost cutting plan. They want breakfast that actually feels worth the price. Okay, so you can't feed the nostalgia with portion controlled spreadsheets, basically. And that's another thing that the mainstream media hasn't even talked about or even confronted, because of the fact of the matter is all they were focused on was the logos and stuff. I'm talking Fox News too. They'll focus on the logo backlash and everything, because they thought they're putting out there as if that was the only reason why Cracker Barrel was facing the backlash, why they were, no, like the customers are no longer coming there. Okay, it wasn't just the logo. Okay, that was just the tip of the iceberg, like I said. But that's the problem with Cracker Barrel's, new approach. Everything is being engineered by accountants instead of the cooks, and you can almost see the boardroom PowerPoint slides that read reduce food costs by 10%, but the savings don't matter when the dining room is actually empty. You see, people go to places like Cracker Barrel because they crave warmth, not efficiency. They want to actually feel the like they were part of something familiar, not processed. Now, the minute you take that away, you're just another restaurant chain that's just begging for more attention. Okay. And now the service has gone downhill as well, right alongside the food. You see, when the diners say that they sat for half an hour without even being asked for a drink, that right there is a culture collapse. Okay. Now, you can't blame one waitress for being slow when the entire store is being overworked and underpaid. Now, if employees don't care anymore, it's because the management don't give them a reason to. See, the charm itself of Cracker Barrel was always the people, friendly servers, folksy managers, and even a sense that everyone inside the building actually cared. You see, now you get silence, frustration, and the sound of customers that are just walking out in droves. But what also makes this worse is how predictable it all is. Now, it's not the first big, brand that tried to go ahead and modernize and wound up losing its fans, but Cracker Barrel should have just known better and stuff. You see, its entire identity was built around comfort and consistency. You see, you can't market yourself as an escape from the modern world and just gut your menu to go ahead and look like every other chain. All right. That's what's happening here, or happened here. The boardroom crowd convinced themselves that they could go ahead and rebrand the past, but in the process, they just erased what the people actually love. All right. So basically, if the leadership doesn't change course soon, this slide won't stop. The financial numbers already show it. Long-term sales decline, stock value dropping, and no clear sign of recovery is in sight. It's the cost of ignoring the people who actually kept the lights on for decades. Now, if Cracker Barrel can throw around words like, modernization and stuff and transformation all they want to, but if the food and service don't improve, none of that actually matters. You see, you can't fix authenticity once it's all gone, okay? But, the simple truth of this is that, Cracker Barrel is not losing customers because of the economy or competition. It's losing them because it stopped being Cracker Barrel. You see, the company traded tradition for trendiness, care for convenience, and pride for policy. I mean, that's good. The good news is that it's still possible to turn things around, but that will require listening to the people, not consultants. And it also means bringing back, the real food, the real service, and even real respect for what made the name worth something in the first place. All right. So, I mean, until then, The chain will just keep shrinking while pretending everything's fine. Now, the customers already voted with their feet, and the dining rooms over at Cracker Barrel are quieter, the plates are smaller, and the loyalty is gone. You can paint the walls any color you want to, but you can't rebrand authenticity. Now, the people actually know when something is fake, and Cracker Barrel's only way forward is the same road it left behind, which is back to honest food, humble service, and the kind of hospitality that never needed a marketing plan. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Be sure to smash the like button, share the video far and wide across social media. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell for future uploads, notifications, and I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, peace.